as you are willing and able. And we all know that there is power whenever we start a statement with I am, right? So I'm expecting great things. What about you? What about you? 2022, it's a new page. And this is what I'm expecting. And I have my friends up here today. Let's give them applause for being here. Here we go. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. Great things. Sing it with me now. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. I am expecting great things. I'm expecting great things. Oh, great things in my life. You do great things. You do great things in my home. Sometimes when you're expecting great things, you gotta surrender and let go, right? Gotta release it. Release those things that are blocking you. Release those ideas, those perceptions, those old belief systems. You have to let it go. Ooh, there was a time in my life, thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you or you or you or you or you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you ain't gotta struggle. You gotta let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free, oh, in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit, you know what's running my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free, oh, in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Say, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit, you know, it's running my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free, oh, in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free, oh, in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Say, I am free, oh, in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Up. It's time for our children's lesson. So any of our children here in the sanctuary, you don't want to come up here to the steps. Come on up. Felicity, you gonna come? Thank you. Come on, come on. Just find a seat. Nice group today. Good. Just any place you want to sit is great. And Felicity has her blue bird of happiness. But I asked her if I could hug it before the service, and she said it would ruin everything. So I said no, that we don't want that to happen. I'm so glad you guys are here today. It's so nice to see this wonderful group of children. So today, in Big People Church, we're going to be talking about the way we connect to other people and have friends and make friends with people. Who here has a really good friend? What's your friend's name?
Kane.
Who's your friend's name?
Ethan.
Ethan. Anybody else want to tell about that? Why do you like who's your friend and why do you like him?
My friend's Luke, and he plays with me at recess.
He plays with you at recess. Tell me who your friend is and what you like about him.
So my best friend Genevieve, what I like about her is she is kind of funny.
Kind of funny. Who's your friend?
Matilda.
Matilda. And why do you like Matilda?
Because she's very nice to me.
I love that. Who's your friend?
Brayden.
And what do you like about Brayden?
He plays at me every recess.
Oh, that's so great. He also what?
He He also likes monster.
He likes monster trucks. That is the basis for a good friendship. So what I want to ask you about, what kind of a person do you have to have friends in your life? If you said that your friends are nice, what do you have to be to have friends?
You have to be kind, nice, share your things, and you have to be a good kind of person that likes to make friends.
There it is. That's the sermon right there. That's exactly right. That if we want to have friends, there's a saying that says this: if you want to have a friend, you must be a friend. Can we say that together? If you want to have a friend, you must be a friend. You guys are very friendly. Thank you for being with us. Enjoy your time with the Sunday school. We're going to let the kids go off, and we're going to move on with our service. Here's some announcements for you today. Thank you.
Good morning, Unity. Did you know that next weekend is Valentine's Day weekend? Are you ready? Well, if not, we have a couple of opportunities for you to participate with us in celebrating. We have a 5 love languages couples retreat on Saturday, and registration is still open. Check out our website for more details. And then on Sunday, I'll be sharing the message on love, and we will be having a vow renewal ceremony as part of the service. So please bring your spouse to the service, or if you're live streaming, make sure they're there with you to watch. Or if you're in different places, you can perhaps get on a Zoom meeting and renew your vows together wherever you are. I hope that you will join us, and I want you to know that you make my heart happy because you are a part of our Unity family. Happy Valentine's Day.
Hi, Unity family. I am Sarah Gish. I'm an artist and an igniter. And I'm excited to let you know that I am going to be kicking off a new program here at Unity of Houston. It's part of the new Sacred Arts ministry that we've created. So easy marbled paper, and I've got some of the materials that you'll need is a shallow aluminum pan. You can use actually glass if you want. Food coloring, so get some food coloring, really easy to get at the grocery store. Sticks of any kind or something to stir with. Paper of any size. You'll see how we do it, but you'll make the marbled art with shaving cream, and then you'll scrape it off with cardboard, anything that will scrape off the shaving cream, and then of course your shaving cream. And you'll end up with a piece of art that looks kind of like this. So I look forward to seeing you guys. It's on Zooms. It'll be safe. It'll be fun. Invite your friends and family. The fee is a love offering, whatever price is good for you. And it'll be Thursday, February 17th from 7 to 8 p.m. I'll see you then.
One of the things that makes Unity of Houston so special is that we have such amazing people in our community. People like you who are interested in their own spiritual growth and being a loving presence in the world. So don't keep all that amazingness to yourself. Join a spirit group. In your small group, you will make meaningful connections in a fun, safe, and supportive environment. Groups meet at various times and days throughout the week, so visit our website to find one that works with your schedule, or email spiritgroups@unityhouston.org for more information.
I missed you guys, and how can you miss me if I don't go away? So really do love coming back, and welcome to Unity of Houston on this beautiful Sunday morning. Choir is here today. The kids are here. It feels like we are really coming back. It's so beautiful. A couple things I want to let you know about. Reverend Shirley and I have been teaching. We're in week 4 of Prosperity Plus 3 on Sundays, and it's a great class. And some of you may be having a little class envy. It didn't work with your schedule. You weren't able to do it. Well, guess what? There's another opportunity starting this week. Reverend Jean Marie will be teaching the same class, at 11 a.m. in the morning. Now, it says it's hybrid, but we're going to start off Zoom only. So that option will be there for the whole 7 weeks, but this week will only be on Zoom. So it is time for you to register now. And someone who knows that they're going to be here, we have had a donor offer the kit that you're going to need, the materials for the class. So the first person I see who raises their hand who's going to be in this class, I see you right up there. This is yours. I'm not going to, here we go. Whoa! No, I'm not going to do that. After the service, you're going to come up here and you're going to, congratulations, enjoy the class. It's going to be fabulous. It is an amazing class. Mary Morrissey is such a killer teacher, just incredible. So today, I want to let anyone know who's new to our community. We would love to find out more about you and get you on our email list. It's the best way to stay on top of all of the things that are happening here at Unity of Houston. And there's a lot happening. If you're new and you're here in the sanctuary, you're invited to go to the welcome table, which is right over there outside in the lobby, outside these doors in the lobby, and someone will be there to answer your questions, and they can give you the card to fill out. If you're new and you're online, there's my camera. What we'd love for you to do is fill out the online version of the connection card. You can find it in Facebook. It'll be pinned in the comments. On YouTube, it's in the video description. Or if none of that works, you can go to our website, unityhouston.org. And there's this square in the middle that we call the ticker, and the active link to the connection card is right there in the middle of the page. So thank you for being with us today. Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are most welcome at Unity of Houston. February is one of my favorite months here at Unity, when we honor Black history, and it's become our tradition that each week we have one of our own community members bring us our moment from Black history, and today it is Anthony Davis. Anthony White, would you please welcome him to the stage?
Good morning. Today's Black History moment is Sidney Poitier. Acclaimed actor, activist, diplomat, and leader Sidney Poitier died on January 6th of this year. His passing brought forth a tremendous wave of honor and appreciation for this great man. At Unity of Houston, it felt right and proper that we begin our month of celebrating Black History Month by sharing his story. Sidney Poitier's family were farming people from the Bahamas. They would often come to Miami to sell tomatoes. It was on one of these business trips to Florida that Sidney was born, 3 months premature, on February 20th, 1927. Care for premature infants was very different in the 1920s than it is today, and he was not expected to survive. But Sidney beat the odds. His parents, Evelyn and Reginald, remained in Miami for 3 months, nurturing and nursing this tiny baby until he was strong enough to return home. There were often gifts in the unexpected challenges, and his early arrival, though difficult, gave him the gift of dual citizenship. This was a gift to him, and what a gift to America, in that we can rightly claim him as our own from the very beginning. As mentioned, his family resided in the Bahamas, and after his birth, they returned there until he was 15. He moved to Miami to live with an older brother at that time, but he found the racism of the Jim Crow era in Florida intolerable. And so a year later, he moved to New York City and began to study acting and pursue roles. He supported himself during this period by washing dishes. He auditioned for the American Negro Theater, but was rejected because he had trouble reading the script. An elderly Jewish waiter he worked with tutored him in his reading by sitting with him each night with a newspaper. During World War II, he served in the Army. He was assigned to work at a veterans hospital, working with psychiatric patients. He was distressed at the treatment the patients received. His lifelong compassion for those who were mistreated and oppressed was being formed by this experience. After leaving the military, he tried again to join the American Negro Theater, and this time he was accepted. His talent began to be recognized. His distinctive manner of speaking helped him stand out as unique. But there was something else about Sidney Poitier, a dignity, a nobility of character. No matter what role he played, he imbued the part with a deep respect and humanity. He had leading roles on Broadway. His career was taking off. But Sidney looked beyond his own successes and saw that there was much work to be done for equality and justice. In 1947, Poitier was a founding member of the Committee for the Negro in the Arts, an organization whose participants were committed to bringing attention to class and racial exploitation. During the McCarthy era, he was blacklisted for his activism, but he remained true to himself and to the cause. In the 1950s, Hollywood began calling his name. He knew he was going to have to choose between leading roles on a stage and a film career. In 1950, he took a role in Daryl Zanuck's No Way Out. The role got him noticed, and in the next years, he got bigger and better parts and critical acclaim. In 1958, he co-starred in Tony Curtis' The Defiant Ones. They both received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. This was the first time a Black actor had ever been nominated in this category. He continued to create memorable film performances and received other awards and nominations. And in 1963, he became the first African-American man to win the Oscar for Best Actor for Lilies of the Field. In 1967, he had 3 popular films that dealt with the racial divide: To Sir with Love, In the Heat of the Night, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. He was sometimes criticized for playing over-idealized characters with no flaws or conflicts. He acknowledged the criticism, but felt strongly that he was doing the work that would shatter stereotypes of Black people that had been in place for centuries. History would prove him right. He forever changed the way the world saw men and women of African descent. He was a leader in other ways in the world. He served on the board of directors for the Walt Disney Company for 8 years and was the ambassador from the Bahamas to Japan from 1997 to 2007. And from 2002 to 2007, he also held the post of ambassador from the Bahamas to the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Last month, when he passed away, the tributes were many. He was called the Martin Luther King of the movies, an icon, and a once-in-a-century talent. President Biden said, with unflinching grandeur and poise, his singular warmth, depth, and stature on screen, Sidney helped open the hearts of millions and change the way America saw itself. Former President Barack Obama paid tribute to Poitier, calling him a singular talent who epitomized dignity and grace. He also noted that Poitier had advanced the nation's dialogue on race and respect and opened doors for a generation of actors. And so today, we honor the life and legacy of this amazing artist and human being. Thank you, Sidney, for raising us up and shining your light so brightly in our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. And I'm sorry to call you by the LA Lakers guy's name. I was watching the game last night. That's why I called you Anthony Davis. So that's Anthony White, who's a member of our choir in our community. He was great. Thank you, Anthony. It is time for a meditation. So someone told me this years ago. Now, I teach music ministry in some ministerial classes around the country, and I think it's really true. Nothing can change the energy of a room faster than music. That's why we have a little bit of a song before we meditate, just to shift the energy from all the talking and move into the stillness. And this is one of my favorite hymns. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. If you haven't done so already, I invite you to close your eyes and receive that as your affirmation. It is well with my soul. In this moment, there is no place else to be, nothing else to do, but to sit in the stillness and recognize the presence of God. So I invite you to just breathe into this awareness, releasing any tension, any anxiety, any concern or fear, that God is here and all is well. So for the space of maybe 3 or 4 breaths, as you breathe in, hold the thought, God is here. As you breathe out, hold the thought, all is well. God is here. All is well. Resting in this consciousness of oneness with the infinite, unity with all life. There truly is no spot where God is not. And we remember that in the midst of all of our struggle and all of our loss, the presence of God is constant. The one thing that is permanent in our lives is this presence. And it is only our mindfulness of it that wavers. And some might say that this is the purpose of meditation, to remind ourselves that God is here. So I simply invite you to allow the biggest struggle in your life right now to just, without getting into the story of it or the pain of it, just allow it to come to mind. And simply say these words silently, inwardly, that God is here and all is well. Even in the midst of everything going on, God is here and all is well. The God of love, of life, of light, of power, of peace, of beauty, of joy. Spirit of the universe, creator of all that is, sustainer of all life, is here, even in our pain. Even in our loneliness, in our depression and anxiety, in our conflict, God is here. All is well. And so we remember that all condition is temporary. Everything comes to pass. And what remains is this deep truth, which brings us such comfort and strengthens our faith, that when the storm has passed, we will be standing in the knowledge and the awareness of God's presence and power. And so we rest in faith, in grace, knowing that God is indeed here and all is well. It is well, it is well with my soul. We give thanks. We let it be as it was and ever shall be. And so it is. Amen.
Just how beautiful. As you return gently now again to this time and place, to wherever you are seated, near and far. We just know that this message of our soul being content and full is always true. And it is from this experience and from this reminder that gratitude flows in that knowledge, in that truth. And so as we turn our focus to ways in which we can express our gratitude and the rich resource that we have been provided in so many ways, so many blessings, a way in which we can support this ministry to allow that message that lifts our spirits to be shared with the world. Your gifts do that. Your participation here does that. And so as you reach down deep into your heart, allow your heart now to raise the vibration of the gift you've chosen to give as we speak the blessing that envelops it and sends it on its way together. All the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I got so carried away, I forgot it, so.
Giving honor, giving thanks for the blessings in my life, giving afraid anymore. I know that nothing can hurt me, so I am letting go of what no longer brings me peace. Giving honor, I'm giving thanks for every lesson in my life. Giving thanks Gary Norian, y'all. Sometimes that includes people. Oh, you gotta let it go, 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 let it go. I'm transcending.
Wow, that was art. I mean, that was incredible. Thank you, Siobhan and Gary and the band. Oh my goodness. So next Sunday is a great religious holiday in this country. Super Bowl Sunday. Max was a lifelong football fan, and he had always wanted to go to the Super Bowl, and he finally was able to get a ticket. He saved his money. He gets to the game, and he realizes he has a terrible seat. He's in the very top of the seats, behind the end zone, and he's just feeling defeated by that. And so he's like looking around. He's probably a unity guy. He's looking for possibility and solution, and he notices down on the 50-yard line there's an empty seat. And he's like, nothing ventured, nothing gained. He made his way down there, and he walked up. There's an elderly man sitting next to him, and he said, "Is someone sitting here?" He said, "Oh, this is my ticket, but it's yours if you want it. Go ahead and take it." So he sits down. He's on the 50-yard line for the Super Bowl, and he turns to the gentleman. He said, "Why is this seat empty?" He said, "Well, my wife and I, we had a tradition of coming to the Super Bowl for 40 years, and she recently died, and so she's not able to be here." And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, but didn't you have a friend, a relative, somebody else who would come?" He said, "Well, they're all at the funeral." I know. It's funny, right? You know that's not a true story. It's just a joke. I love that. Thank you, Lyle. Where are you, Lyle? Forget. That was one that he sent me that one on email this week. I loved it. My message today is we're all in this together. You know, we look around the world, and not only do we disagree about which football team should win, but it seems like we have increasingly been sort of forced into camps and in opinions, and we're these oppositional, even sort of hate. You know, those people are not like us if they don't agree with us. And my message today, you know, I've been sharing this intuitive practice where every morning at the end of my meditation and prayer and journaling, I just ask the question, what wants to happen today? And it's really been amazing. And this morning, one of the things that came was encourage the people. And then the second thing came was challenge the people. I'm sorry. Came from God. I have to do it. And it reminds me of the thing Farrellyn used to say, I don't think she originated it, but that our job as ministers is to comfort the afflicted and sometimes to afflict the comfortable. So we're going to start there, and then we'll get to the good stuff. How's that, all right? All right, so there are some things I think we need to be aware of. I'm going to start with some teachings of Jesus. Oh, you think that's not controversial? Just you wait. So Father Richard Rohr says this about the way we follow the teachings of Jesus. He said, we worshiped Jesus instead of following him on his same path. We made Jesus into a mere religion instead of a journey towards union with God and everything else. This shift has made Christianity into a religion of belonging and believing instead of a religion of transformation. But at Unity, this is the way we have always held Jesus, as our way shower. That he not only came to deliver these beautiful truths, but that he said, you're going to do this too. He said, those who come after me will do yet greater things. That this is the way we are to approach our understanding of his teachings, and the meaning of his life, of his ministry here on earth, is not to make him the great exception, but to make him the great example. So everything I'm about to read comes from that place. The Jewish legal experts were always trying to trip Jesus up, at least as the way the Gospels tell us the story, that the Pharisees, the Sadducees were always trying to make sure he knew his stuff, and this is what happened. And one of these rulers in the law said, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" This is in Matthew 22. And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is like unto it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments." So far, so good. This is from the Hebrew Scriptures, the book of Deuteronomy, where this is the great commandment. You know, there are so many other commandments, like, you shouldn't wear polyester and cotton together. That's a rule. So at least we know God has good tastes, There are all these dietary laws and the ways that we dress and all of these things, but out of those 600 and some laws that an upstanding Jewish man should observe every day, there was this great one that Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and love your neighbor as what? Yourself. So love rules the day. Jesus also said that the way that people are going to know his disciples, his followers, is by love. They will know you by your love for one another. This is what we are to do as followers of Jesus' way, is to love. Matthew 5. This is considered part of the Sermon on the Mount, which even the most skeptical scholars of ancient teachings and writings have said there definitely existed this man. There were Roman records of his execution. He existed, and most likely these are the words that we know he said. Even, like I said, the skeptics would say that. The teaching is a little tougher. Hold on. Matthew 5:43. You have heard it said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. What do you think about that? Love your neighbor. Okay, I can do that. But not those people. I don't know who those people are for you. I've shared, I have a list. And my work is to always bring that list into the circle of God. Recognize that there are no enemies in God. It's hard. It's hard to not return judgment for judgment. It's hard to not return attack for attack. This is sort of our defense mechanism, our survival mechanism is that we want to, return an eye for an eye, the code of Hammurabi. And what does that leave us? Remove an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. We all end up toothless and blind if we keep doing that way. So something else must be called for. And Jesus' teaching of love your enemy, for me, absolutely solidifies the truth that this man from Galilee was a teacher of non-dual reality. When he said, don't judge lest you be judged, with the same measure you judge others, it will be judged unto you. That is a non-dual teaching, that we are one with each other. We are a part of this life of God. We are connected at our deepest level. Beneath the surface level of condition and form, there is spirit, which is the life of us all. And when we harm another, we harm ourselves. Because we are one with each other. You know, Unity is a really cool brand. We love our name, but it's also our theology. Our name means we are one with God and one with all that is. Unity, not duality, unity. So here's the thing, one more. See how well you guys are. You're hanging with me pretty well so far. We're going to go back to, all this is in Matthew. This is chapter 20. Verse 30, if you're not for me, you're against me. Let's just put this together, shall we? We want to be followers of Jesus. Not necessarily worshipers, but followers. To live in this teaching of non-duality and oneness, of love. Love of God, love of self, love of each other. This is who we want to be. Can I get an amen? Amen. This is who we want to be. And Jesus says, if you're not for me, you're against me. But back in chapter 5, he said, love your enemy. Wait a minute. You see, if we have an enemy, if we have identified anyone as being other, we are in opposition to the teachings of Jesus. And how many people go around this world, and let's start blaming and making a list right now. All the people who claim to be Christians, but who condemn and judge and cast out because some moral code is not working right for them about the way the people are showing up. You hear what I'm saying? This is a hard teaching, and it is the only teaching. We are not allowed to call ourselves followers of Jesus if we are judging and casting out anyone, everyone. Yes, even that politician that you're all thinking of right now. And it's not the same one. You know this. That woman, that man, is an expression of the power and the beauty and the glory of God. They just forgot. As I forget. As I forget. The power of this teaching is incredible. In A Course in Miracles, Jesus says that it is when we judge and blame that we take ourselves out of the circle of atonement, at one-ment. When I think I found somebody else that I'm going to put outside of God's circle, guess where I am? Outside of the circle. And so what is the way back into the circle? What is the way back into reconciliation? Is to recognize, yes, she is also a part of God, an integral, irreplaceable, unique expression of God's heart and life and body. How do we do this? How do we ever hold all of the chaos and the violence and the racism? How do we possibly hold the abuse that we see in our world within the love of God? Well, here's the way we do it. It's not the behavior that we hold as being expressions of God. It is the person. And so we can absolutely stand for unity and oneness and hold everyone in this circle and still say, no, that is not acceptable. You may not do that to me. You may not do that to the children. This is the way that we're able to and it's, boy, is it hard. This is like graduate school spirituality, right? to be able to say, I love you and recognize the oneness that we have with each other, and what you are doing is not acceptable. Theodore Roosevelt had this thing. I thought I put it in here. I guess I didn't. Doesn't matter. He had this quote I read this morning where he said that to hold the president as without blame and give him 100% support is a sin against democracy. Isn't that great? We can love and support our humanity and our common spirituality without saying yes to that. Why do we judge and criticize? Why do we otherize? Why do we make enemies? You know that beautiful teaching that judge not lest you be judged? It's a reciprocal energy, and it works the other way too. We judge because we are judged. I've been reading Matthew Fox's The Hidden Spirituality of Men. We're a lot of energy about getting our men's ministry going again. I'm pretty excited about that. You'll be hearing more about that soon. And this comes from Matthew Fox's, quoting Robert Bly first, that without a fundamental love of life at the center of everything, children learn from infancy that they are being judged. And that judgment restricts every thought, desire, and action. A baby with no language knows when they're being judged. You, as an infant, knew. You felt it. And the unity consciousness was crumbled, was obscured, was shadowed in some way. You felt it. And what does someone who is judged do? They try to survive, try and fit myself into the form you need me to be so everything will be okay, and we judge. Matthew Fox says that without the love of this fundamental love of life, people despair. And despair, as Thomas Aquinas observed, is the most dangerous of all sins. When we are overwhelmed by despair, there are no limits to violence. If we no longer love ourselves, then the admonition to love neighbor as self is meaningless. So here's the problem. We've all been judged and found wanting, and we want to just judge right back, but the solution is here, is to recognize that beneath all judgments, beneath every failure, I am loved, I am worthy, and never has it been otherwise. Julian of Norwich, one of the most amazing women in the Christian, and next month we're doing women in their contributions to spirituality for Women's Month, Women's History Month. But Julian said this, I better get the quote right. Do you know who she was? She was 14th century. She was an anchoress. Oh, I could tell you stories about her. But she says this, God loved us before he made us. And his love has never diminished and never shall. Do you get that? Before you were even in your mother's womb, you were loved by God. There's nothing that will ever change that fact that you are precious to the one. And that is the key to healing our separation. It's not out there, it's in here. This is where we do the work, by reconciling ourselves to the power and the love and the presence of God, releasing everything that stands in the way of it. But Pastor, you don't know how hard it's been. You're right. I don't know your story, and I don't know the blocks that have been placed between you and returning to your native state of being loved by God for all time. I don't know what they are. I know what mine are. I know what Howard Thurman's were. Do you know Howard Thurman? You hear me talk about him a lot. My favorite quote about purpose, he says, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Amazing, amazing man, came from very little. He rose to be the preacher at Boston University. He was a mentor of Dr. King and many of the other civil rights leaders. In the 1940s, he established a church in San Francisco that was intentionally racially diverse. Incredible. His grandmother was a slave as a child. She had some reasons to otherize. She had been victimized by this world, and she had some reasons to hold people as having done her wrong. I want to read to you a little bit. what Howard wrote about his grandmother. The thing I got from her was an enormous respect of the magic that there is in knowledge that came from what she observed as a slave child. Whenever her owner's wife saw her little girl, trying to teach my grandmother the alphabet, or 1, 2, 3, she would chastise the child and send her to bed without supper. My grandmother said, "I saw there must be some magic in knowing how to read and write." Occasionally, when she was in an expansive mood, she would talk about her life as a slave on the plantation in North Florida, and 2 of those stories I never tired of. The first, sometimes the plantation's owner's minister would be permitted to hold a service for the slaves, and he always preached from the same text, "Slaves, be obedient to your masters, for this is right in the Lord." My grandmother said that she made up her mind then and there that if she ever learned to read, or if freedom ever came, she would never read that part of the Bible. So all the years I was growing up and had the job of reading the Bible to her every day, I could never read any of the letters of Paul, except now and then the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians. Maybe this experience unconsciously influenced my thought when I wrote the book, Jesus and the Disinherited. My grandmother's second story is even more important to me, but in a different way. She would talk about the times when a slaver preacher was permitted to hold services for the slaves of her masters and all the neighboring plantations. A slave preacher, is what that is. I don't remember how often this happened, but that when it happened, it was all tremendously important, and then my sister and I would be very still because we didn't know when she was going to tell us this. His grandmother would say, it didn't matter what the text was, the minister always ended up at the same place. He would stand up, start very quietly, and look around to all of us through the room, and he would say, "You are not slaves. You are not the N-word. You are God's children." And you know, when my grandmother said that part to us, she would unconsciously straighten up, head high and chest out, and a faraway look would come on her face. And she transferred that to me, Howard Thurman writes. There was nothing that could happen in my environment that could ever touch this. It gave me my identity, so I didn't have to wait for a revolution. I have never been in search of identity, and I think the explanation is that everything I've ever felt and worked on and believed was founded in a kind of private, almost unconscious autonomy that did not seek vindication in my environment because it was in me. And this is what I've tried to pass on to my children. We have to have some way to keep from internalizing our environment's negative judgments about us. And as long as I keep the environment external, it cannot control me. But when I internalize it, I am captured. An amazing, inspirational story. In 1947, Howard Thurman founded the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples. It is an interfaith, interracial, intercultural community of seekers dedicated to personal empowerment and social transformation through an ever-deepening relationship with the Spirit of God in all life. I love our diversity in this church. It's the first thing I noticed when Howard invited me to come sing here on a Sunday 12 years ago. Love it. It's unusual to have a church that is visibly diverse and diverse in so many ways. I love it. Some of the African American members of our community have said that they've gotten pushback from their friends and family. Why are you going to that white church? Yeah, I know. Some of you have told me this. We're not a white church. Maybe we were founded by white people. Yeah, we're not. We're not a black church. We're not a straight church. We're not a gay church. We're not an old church. We're not a young church. We're not a church of people who are physically abled or physically disabled. We are a community of seekers, a community of souls seeking to remember and remind each other of the truth of our oneness with God. This is who we are. Beth Nielsen Chapman, a great songwriter, she said, in this world of mass confusion, either side of the battle lines, there are places where love is blooming and where the sun still shines. Come to mine. This is one of those places in the world. In a place of confusion and disaffection and opposition, this is a place where love still shines. And it's my commitment as your leader to keep it thus. There are people who think because we celebrate Black history that we are being run by the liberal left. And there are people who think because we celebrate Veterans Day and Memorial Day, we are puppets of the rabid right. We are here for people. And people to remember the good that they are. Gary, if you wouldn't mind just playing, we'll close with this, and this will be my prayer. This is Ernest Holmes. Just open and receive these words. Find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of his soul, and I will find another Savior, another Jesus, an exalted human being. Find me one person who no longer has any fear of the universe or of God or of man or of anything else, and you will have brought to me someone in whose presence I may sit, and fear shall vanish as clouds before the light. Find me one person who has redeemed his own soul, and she shall become my redeemer. Find me someone who has given all that she has in love without morbidity, and I will have found the lover of my soul. Is this not true? Because he will have revealed to me the nature of God and proved to me the possibility of all human souls. Find me just one person who can get his own littleness out of the way, and he shall reveal to me the immeasurable magnitude of the universe in which I live. So God, we commit ourselves to living in that universe of love, of power, of possibility, and that this community is established as a place of remembering that deep truth, that we are one, that we are each called to bring our authentic gift. And so we are healed in this awareness. We release our judgment, we release our condemnation, and we step into the path that Jesus walked before us. Bless everyone within the sound of my voice. May we all rise to live in that light. And so it is. Amen. I don't know what it is that you've been believing about yourself that has kept you small, but it ain't true. It ain't true. And I don't know if anyone has told you today that they love you or not, but I'm standing here today and I'm telling you, I love you. God bless you.
Inside of the infinite, one love that can only be God's love. Oh, yes, I know. I walk in the love of God. There is a wisdom I know we
virtual parenting class has begun for those parents of children 1 through 6 years of age. Go to the Youth and Family Ministry page for more information, because you can jump in here anywhere. Introduction to Soul Collage begins tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. You can register online to be a part of that. And this Wednesday, for Wednesday Night Satsang, Thich Nhat Hanh is describing something he calls the First Supper. Come and learn about it together with us, because I will have read the chapter by then and I can tell you what he said. So hope you'll join us then.
As you're able, as we sing, lift every voice and sing to close our service.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present brought us. Sing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Sing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you. Join me in our prayer for protection now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And we know today that God is good all the time.
It's a beautiful